The sky above Seraph 9 was dark, covered in thick orange clouds. Wind moved slowly, like it was tired of this planet. Everything looked dead. The ground cracked, black rocks everywhere, and no signs of trees or animals. Corporal Reich Vanzen, a 26-year-old human soldier, stood at the edge of a broken wall, watching a group of prisoners being brought in. His armor was scratched, covered in dust and blood. His eyes were tired, but still sharp. Another batch? Reich asked without turning. Yeah, replied Sergeant Keller, walking beside him. 10 Zark 1 prisoners, high value, Command says Street. Them carefully. Some are from noble bloodlines, Reich scoffed. They all look the same to me. Tall, angry, and stinking of pride. Keller gave him a quick look. Careful, Reich. This isn't Earth. These aliens don't play fair, Reich shrugged. Let them try. The soldiers moved aside as the prisoners were escorted in. The Zark 1 were tall, over 7 feet, with smooth, dark blue skin and gold lines running down their arms. Their eyes glowed softly, like dying stars. All except one. One of them walked slowly, his head slightly bowed. He looked smaller, thinner, almost weak compared to the others. His gold lines were faded, and his wrists were not chained. That was unusual. Why no chains? Reich asked. The guard whispered. He asked not to be chained ... And they agreed. Reich laughed. They agreed? You serious? The guard nodded nervously. Reich walked toward the alien and stood in front of him. The alien raised his eyes, pale yellow, almost white, and stared straight into Reich's. There was something strange in his gaze. Calm, deep, cold. Reich smirked. You don't look so special. What are you, a scholar? Maybe a dancer? The alien said nothing. Reich took a step closer. You're lucky we even let you live. You and your kind lost this war. You're not gods anymore. Still, the alien remained silent. Reich leaned in and whispered, You're just another blue-skinned freak wearing golden paint. The alien blinked slowly. His expression never changed. But then, very quietly, he said, Do you know who I am? Reich raised an eyebrow. Should I? The alien replied, No, you should fear who I am. Reich rolled his eyes and turned around. Save the drama, alien. But behind him, the alien's eyes glowed brighter, for just a second, and then faded again. That night, Reich sat in the barracks with a few other soldiers. They were eating synthetic meat and drinking rehydrated beer. You ever seen a quiet Zarquan? Reich asked. One of them looked like a librarian, a soldier laughed. Maybe he's their version of a monk. Another said, I heard their nobility don't speak unless spoken to. Some old culture rule. Reich shook his head. Well, he broke that rule. Whispered something about fear. Like he's supposed to scare me. They all laughed, but one soldier didn't. Private Darnell, the youngest in the group, looked uneasy. What is it? Reich asked. Darnell hesitated. I've read about them. That mark on his arm, the faded gold spiral, it means he's from the line of Varith. Reich frowned. And that means what? It means, Darnell said slowly, he's royalty. A bloodline that was never captured in history, never seen in chains, until today. Everyone went quiet. Then the lights flickered. The soldiers looked around. Just a power glitch, Keller said. But even he didn't sound sure. Later that night, in the command tower, a video file was uploaded to the Galactic Human-Alien Council's private system. The title was simple. Incident, Seraph 9, Human Offense Recorded. The file played the full interaction between Reich and the unknown Zarquan prisoner. It zoomed in when Reich insulted him. Audio captured every word. When the alien said, You should fear who I am, the video slowed, showing a flash in his eyes out in the council room. Hundreds of light years away, silence fell. A human representative cleared his throat. It was just a soldier, joking. The Zarquin Counselor, a shadowy figure with glowing robes, said coldly. He insulted a bloodline that dates back 14,000 years. Another voice added, and he did it while our prince was under protection. Murmurs rose. Human leaders whispered to one another. Surely, the prince will understand. It was not intentional. The Zarquin Counselor stared into the hologram. He will not need to understand. He will remember. The blood remembers. The next morning, Reich woke up to find 2 soldiers missing. Their bunks were untouched, gear still there. No one saw them leave, probably drunk. Someone joked, but Reich felt uneasy. On his armor chestplate, a strange symbol was scratched. A spiral, almost like the one on the prince's arm. He rubbed it off and looked around. Nothing. Later that day, the camp was ordered to prepare for departure. All prisoners were being transferred. A special council envoy would take over the camp in 24 hours. Reich stood near the prisoner cages. The prince was gone. Where's the quiet one? Reich asked a guard. The guard looked confused. What do you mean, the royal? The one I spoke to yesterday. The guard shook his head. We never had a royal. We scanned all prisoners. None showed noble blood. That's not possible, Reich said, walking closer. No records, no data. No face match, the guard insisted. Either you're confused, or he never existed. Reich's hands went cold. He walked to the cage where the alien had been. Empty. No name on the log. No visual ID. Only one thing remained. A symbol carved on the wall. A spiral, same as before. That evening, Reich sat alone. The wind outside howled. He checked his wrist pad. Messages were missing. Some photos, gone. His digital log of the prisoner interaction, deleted. He ran to the tech room. Hey, my footage is wiped. Who authorized that? The tech shook his head. You didn't have any footage scheduled. I checked. I uploaded it myself. The tech shrugged. It's not here. Maybe you imagined it. At midnight, the storm hit. Sirens screamed. Lights flickered again. One soldier screamed, then silence. Reich grabbed his rifle and ran out. The camp was empty. All soldiers gone. No blood, no signs of struggle. Just that gone. Only one person remained. A young boy, human, about 10 years old. Sitting in the middle of the camp. What the hell? Reich whispered. He approached slowly. Hey, who are you? Where's everyone? The boy looked up, eyes glowing yellow. You insulted the wrong one. Soldier, the boy said. And then he vanished. Reich fell to his knees, breathing heavy. Behind him, the sky cracked open with thunder. In the council hall. Far away, the video ended. The Zarquin counselor spoke softly. The insult has been made. The hunt will begin. The human representative said, You can't declare war over one man's words. The counselor looked at him. It is not war, he said. It is remembrance. Back on Seraph 9, Reich sat alone in a dead base storm above him, with one final message appearing on his screen. You made a mistake, human. The blood remembers. We are coming. The morning sun struggled to shine through thick clouds on Seraph 9. The battlefield was silent, but the air felt heavy. Something was wrong. Corporal Reich Vanzen woke up feeling a cold sweat on his forehead. Last night's storm still echoed in his ears. The strange boy who disappeared after his warning haunted his mind. He rubbed his eyes and looked around the small base camp. His fellow soldiers were missing. Again, 2 more gone. Reich stood and grabbed his rifle. His boots hit the dusty floor. With a soft thud, where are they? He muttered. The base commander, Major Thorne, paced nervously in the command tent. His face was pale. Corporal, we've lost 4 men in less than 12 hours, Thorne said. No signs of struggle. No bodies, no messages, Reich frowned. They didn't just disappear. Something's hunting them. Thorne shook his head. Don't jump to conclusions. The Zarquen could be setting traps, but no evidence yet. Reich felt anger rising inside him. I warned you, that alien we captured, he's not normal. And you don't even believe me. Thorn's eyes narrowed. Reich, you're a good soldier. But right now, rumors won't help us. Focus on your duties. Reich left the tent, but his mind was restless. He needed answers. He walked toward the area where the Zarquen prisoners were kept. The cages were empty. No sound. Then, a soft glow appeared on his armor. He looked down. A strange spiral symbol was glowing faintly on his wrist device. Same symbol he saw before, scratched on the wall. His heart raced. Reich tapped the screen, trying to understand what it meant. Suddenly, a message appeared. Blood calls to blood. The curse has begun. He blinked. Was it a joke? A virus? Reich tried to delete it, but the message stayed. His radio crackled. A voice whispered, barely audible, "You insulted the wrong bloodline, soldier." Reich spun around, but no one was there. His skin prickled. Back in the barracks, Private Darnell approached him quietly. "I read something about Zarquen curses," Darnell said nervously. "Old stories. When one bloodline is insulted, revenge comes from beyond," Reich scoffed. "Stories are stories. We have tech. We control the battlefield." Darnell looked away, uneasy. Reich wished he could believe him. That night, Reich stayed awake. He checked his equipment. His gear was failing, weapons glitches, communications cutting out. Something was interfering. He looked at the sky through a cracked window. A shooting star burned across the horizon. He whispered, "If this is a curse, I'll break it." Suddenly, the camp alarms blared. Lights flickered. Soldiers scrambled out of tents. Reich grabbed his rifle. Through the smoky darkness, shapes moved fast. A shadow darted between buildings. Reich fired. The shadow vanished. "Report!" Major Thorne shouted. "We lost another soldier." Someone cried. Reich looked around. Only a few men remained. The Zarquen scout had come back, not for a fight, for a hunt. The next day, Reich was summoned to the command tower. The room was cold. A hologram flickered to life. The Zarquen counselor's face appeared. "We have reviewed your actions, Corporal," the alien said, voice low and steady. "You insulted our prince. You awakened an ancient bond." Reich clenched his fists. "I didn't know." The counselor's eyes burned. "Intent does not matter. Blood remembers." Reich left the tower. He felt eyes watching him. Everywhere he went, whispers followed. His fellow soldiers avoided him. He was alone. Late that night, Reich's wrist device beeped again. A new message. "Prepare yourself. The hunt has begun." Reich's fingers trembled. The symbols on his gear glowed brighter. He ran outside. The wind screamed from the darkness. A figure appeared. It was the alien prince. No chains, glowing eyes, calm but deadly. "You should not have spoken to me that way," the prince said. Reich raised his rifle. "Then don't come any closer." The prince smiled, cold and cruel. "Run, human. You cannot hide." Reich ran through the camp. Shadows followed. His gear failed him. One by one, his team was captured or vanished. The curse was real. The bloodline was hunting him. In a ruined building, Reich stopped. He looked at his hands. "Why me?" he whispered. The prince appeared beside him. "You carry the blood you do not know." Reich blinked. "What?" The prince raised a hand. "Your ancestors crossed us long ago. Your DNA carries our legacy." Reich's mind reeled. Then what happens now? The prince's eyes flashed. Double quotes now. "You run or you die." The next morning, Reich was ready. He packed light. His mission was clear. Find the truth behind the bloodline. Break the curse and survive. The desert winds of Seraph 9 screamed like lost souls. The camp where Reich once laughed with his squad was now silent. Empty tents, broken fences, and ash-filled air were all that remained. Corporal Reich Vanzen walked alone. No orders. No backup. Only. A message burned into his mind. The hunt has begun. He hadn't slept in 2 nights. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw them, tall, shadowy Zarquin figures watching him from the dark, whispering in a language he couldn't understand. And the prince, always calm, always smiling, Reich, climbed a ridge above the base. From there, he could see far into the wasteland. Black mountains in the distance. And below, strange marks in the dirt, spiral symbols again. They followed him wherever he went. He opened his wrist device. No signal. No way to call command. Then, without warning, a pulse blast hit the rocks beside him. Boom! Reich rolled down the slope and took cover. He aimed his rifle toward the ridge, but saw nothing, just silence. He scanned with thermal vision, still nothing, but he felt it. The cold stare of something watching. He was being hunted. Hours passed. Reich moved from ruin to ruin, surviving on emergency packs and rainwater. He avoided open areas, used shadows, and covered his tracks. He was trained for survival, but this felt different. ZR. Quen weren't attacking in groups. They were playing a game, one that only they understood. That night, while hiding inside a wrecked dropship, Reich set up motion sensors. He placed 5. Only 3 stayed on. 2 were disabled silently. No beeps. No alerts. He stared at the screen. Then something moved, a shape, 7 feet tall, standing just outside the ship. Reich held his breath. The shape walked slowly across the opening, dragging its claw across the metal wall. SCREECH. It stopped at the door. And whispered, "Still running?" Reich stayed silent. His heart beat like thunder. When he woke, it was gone, but one of the sensors was placed beside him, melted. They were showing him, "We can reach you anytime." Desperate, Reich traveled to Outpost 17, an abandoned mining station. 2 days from his base, he found one survivor there. A rogue AI drone named XEL had been decommissioned by the military, but still operated in hidden mode. Reich reactivated it. "Human ID confirmed," XEL said in a robotic voice. "Name, Reich Vanzen. Status, hunted. You know?" Reich asked, surprised. XEL buzzed. Zarquin-coded frequencies intercepted. "Their prince activated right of fire. You are now prey." Reich frowned. "Why me?" XEL paused. "Because your genetic markers match their ancient enemies. You are considered legacy threat." Reich sat down. The truth was too heavy. He wasn't just being punished. He was a symbol, a living echo of an old war. Reich looked at XEL. "Can you help me fight back?" Zell blinked. "Only if you stop running." Together, they planned a trap. Zell hacked into old mining turrets, reactivated drones, and set up a bait signal, a fake distress call. They waited inside the outpost. Hours passed. Nothing. Then the ground trembled. Shadows moved outside. Reich held his breath. Finger on the trigger. A Zarquin scout entered silently. He wore no armor. Just a cloak made of black bones. His eyes glowed yellow. He stepped into the middle of the room. Reich stepped out with his rifle aimed. "Don't move." The scout raised his hand slowly. "You learned. But too late," Reich growled. "Why are you hunting me? What do you want?" The scout smiled. "To remind your kind that words are weapons." Reich lowered his rifle slightly. "The prince, he's leading this, isn't he?" The scout nodded. "He remembers everything. The insult, the war, the betrayal." Reich clenched his fists. "I don't even know what my ancestors did." The scout's voice became soft. "You carry their blood." "That's enough." Reich aimed again. "Tell your prince, I'm done running." Before the scout could reply, XEL activated the trap. Turrets fired. Boom. Dust filled the air. The scout was gone. Only his cloak remained. XEL processed the aftermath. No life signs. Target escaped. Damage, minimal. Reich cursed. They're testing me, studying me. XEL turned to him. Yes, like a predator studying prey before the final strike. Back at the council chambers, a new report arrived. Video feed from Outpost 17 showed Reich setting a trap. Fighting back. The Zarquan prince watched the footage. He smiled. He learns. A council member asked, "Shall we continue the hunt?" The prince stood, eyes glowing. "No," he said. "Now we begin the trial." Back on Seraph 9, Reich found something strange inside the outpost's archives. An old Zarquan blade, sealed in a chamber marked Specimen 42. He touched it. It glowed. Spiral pattern formed on its surface. His name appeared in alien script. Reich Vanzen. He stepped back. "What is this?" he asked. XEL scanned the blade. "This weapon was marked for you centuries ago." Reich's voice shook. "How is that possible?" Zell answered, "Because the past... has never ended." The room darkened. Reich heard footsteps. The prince stood in the doorway, unarmed. "I came to speak," the prince said. Reich raised his rifle. "You've already said enough." The prince didn't flinch. "You don't understand, human. This is not revenge. This is memory." Reich shouted, "You killed my team. You wiped out my camp." The prince looked into his eyes. "And yet, you are still standing." "Why?" Reich hesitated. "I don't know." The prince nodded slowly. "Yes, you do. The blood knows. Your line was never weak." Reich lowered the gun. "What do you want from me?" The prince turned and walked away. "When you're ready, come find me in the Hall of Trials." Reich stood alone in the dark. His fingers gripped the ancient blade. He didn't understand everything yet, but one thing was clear. This was no longer just about survival. It was about truth. And war. Darkness covered the sky of Seraph 9 like a thick black cloth. Winds blew cold across the ruined outpost where Corporal Reich Vanzen now hid. His face was pale. His body ached. But his mind burned with one question: who am I really? He looked down at the strange alien blade in his hands. It glowed softly, showing his name in Zarquan language, a language he never learned, yet somehow he could understand it. Zell, the Roga's eye drone beside him, hovered silently. "You are not just human," XEL said at last. "The blade has chosen you. Only blood from the Vurath line can awaken it." Reich looked up. "But I'm a soldier. I was born on Mars. My parents were miners. My DNA file is clean." XEL buzzed. "False. Your Federation records were edited. Your true ancestry was hidden." Reich's throat went dry. "Why would someone hide that?" Zell answered, "Because your blood connects two enemies, human and Zarquan." Reich sat down on a crate, breathing slowly. "Tell me everything," he said. And XEL began. Hundreds of years ago, long before Earth joined the Galactic Council, a secret program was created. Human scientists had learned that Zarquan warriors were stronger, faster, and more intelligent. They wanted to mix Zarquan DNA with humans to make a new breed of soldiers. They called it Project Titanfire. Only a few test subjects were made. Most were failures, but one line survived. That bloodline was passed down quietly, hidden in plain sight. XEL hovered closer. "Your ancestor was the last survivor of Titanfire. His name was Kale Vanzen," Reich whispered. "That's my family name." "Yes," XEL replied. "The blade you now hold once belonged to him." Reich's hands shook. "So all this time, I wasn't just a soldier." "No," XEL said. "You are the last of the Varath line, half human, half Zarquan. That's why the prince didn't kill you." Flashbacks played in Reich's mind, strange dreams he had as a child, glowing eyes in mirrors, the way his body healed quickly, how he could feel danger before it came. He thought it was training, but now it made sense. It was in his blood. Reich stood and looked out into the desert. Then why hunt me? Why make me suffer? Zell answered, because the prince believes you are a threat to his rule. The blood you carry once challenged his ancestors. Now he fears you might rise again. Reich clenched his fists. So this isn't just personal, it's political. Exactly, XEL replied. Suddenly, Reich's wrist device beeped. A new SIGNIL hidden transmission. He opened it. A voice played deep, ancient, and familiar. Reich Vanzen. You carry the legacy of warriors. If you are to live, you must face the trial. XEL hovered closer. The Hall of Trials. It is not a trap, it is an invitation. Hours later, Reich arrived at the edge of a massive canyon. Deep inside, carved into the rock, was a giant door covered in symbols. XEL hovered overhead. This is the place. Reich pushed the door open. Inside, torches lit themselves, warm. Golden light showed a long hallway. He walked forward, his hand. On the glowing blade dot in the center of the hall stood a massive stone ring. Around it were 6 Zarquin elders, old, tall, and powerful. They wore black robes and had eyes like stars. The prince stood beside them, calm as ever. He stepped forward. You came. Reich nodded. I want answers. One elder spoke. Then prove your right to ask. Double quotes another added. Fight, survive, understand. Suddenly, the floor beneath Reich moved. He was lowered into a pit, the trial arena around him. The walls shimmered. Images of ancient battles played on stone like holograms. A voice echoed. Trial 1. Strength. A Zarquin warrior dropped into the arena. 7 feet tall. Muscles like steel. It charged at Reich. Reich dodged, rolled, and slashed with the blade. Sparks flew. His human side screamed in pain. But his other side, the hidden part, began to awaken. After 3 brutal rounds, Reich stood, bloodied but alive. The crowd above was silent. Then came the next challenge. Trial 2, Truth. A strange mist filled the arena. Reich was pulled into a vision. He saw his parents, not miners, but scientists. He saw himself as a child, inside a lab. Needles. Tests. A doctor saying, this one's blood is strong. Let him grow in silence. Reich fell to his knees. Everything he knew was a lie. He came back to the arena, panting. Tears in his eyes. The prince looked down. Now you know. Reich stood. You wanted me to see that? Yes, the prince replied. Because I once saw the same visions. We are brothers of blood. Reich's heart stopped. What? The prince stepped closer. Our ancestors were one. Your great-grandfather and mine were born from the same DNA. We are 2 sides of the same sword. Reich didn't speak. Couldn't speak. Then came the final trial. Trial 3. Choice. A door opened. Inside, 2 paths. One showed Earth, his home, his people. The other showed the Zarquin throne, power, command, revenge. The prince said, join me and we rule both. Refuse and you die as prey. Reich looked at the 2 paths. His blade glowed in his hand. He stepped forward. Not to Earth, not to the throne, but between both. I'm not yours, he said. And I'm not theirs. I'm something new. The elders gasped. The prince's eyes widened, and the trial room shook. Outside, in the real world, the skies over Seraph 9 turned red. The council received a new message. The heir has chosen. The blood has returned. Prepare for balance. Or war. Reich walked out of the trial hall, stronger than before. XEL hovered beside him. What now? Reich smiled faintly. Now, we hunt them. The cold wind of Seraph 9 blew hard through the broken valleys. Dark clouds covered the sky, and a red lightning storm moved in the distance. But Corporal Reich Vanzen was no longer afraid. He was no longer running. He had passed the trial of the ancients. He had survived the truth about his blood. Now, he was planning something dangerous. A counterstrike, A trap, XEL, the rogue AI drone, hovered quietly beside him as they moved through the ruins of Outpost 41, a forgotten research base once used by the Federation. Systems are still alive, Zell said. Power cells stable. Defense grid offline, but repairable. Reich nodded. Perfect. We set the stage here. Reich's plan was clear. Lure the Zarquin scout teams in. Catch them. Send a message. He and XEL worked non-stop. Reich reprogrammed old turrets, built motion-triggered explosives, and placed decoy transmitters broadcasting false human activity. Zeal hacked nearby satellites and planted fake reports of a secret human. Operation in the area. The bait was ready. Now they had to wait. On the third night, the skies above glowed with energy. Reich stood on the roof, holding the alien blade across his back and a plasma rifle in his hands. He looked stronger, now got faster. More focused. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. The mix of human and Zarquin blood had awakened something deep inside him. Zeal gave the warning first. Movement detected. 2 scouts, no visible weapons. Heat signatures match Zarquin elite. Reich nodded. They took everything from me. Time to return the favor. As the 2 figures approached silently through the ruins, Reich waited in shadow. He watched every movement, the way they breathed, the way they scanned the area. Zar. Quen were smart, but Reich was unpredictable now. He activated Phase Trap Alpha. A low hum spread across the ground. The 2 aliens froze. Blue sparks jumped around their armor. Antigrav field active. XEL said. The Zarquin scouts tried to move, but couldn't. Reich stepped out from the shadows, rifle aimed. I told your prince. I'm done running. One of the scouts growled. You have no idea what you've started. Reich fired. The shock round hit center mass. The scout dropped. The second screamed and charged, but hit a hidden explosive mine. Boom. Dust and light filled the area. Reich walked toward the fallen body. The alien gasped, blood blowing blue. Too late. He's already coming. Let him, Reich said coldly. Back at the council, the prince watched the footage. For the first time, his face changed. No smile. No calm. Just silence. One of the elders whispered, he has embraced it. The blood. The prince sobbed softly. Then, the time has come. We send the vanguard. Back at Outpost 41, Reich reviewed data from the captured scouts. WRISTBA ND. It showed troop movements, messages, and most important, a location called the Nest. XEL scanned the data. The Nest is a Zarquin outpost, hidden, underground, built centuries ago. Reich narrowed his eyes. That's where they're hiding. That night, Reich carved a spiral into the stone floor. Just like the symbol the prince had once shown him. But this time, it was his message. He recorded a video. To the council. To the prince. I'm not afraid. I know who I am now. Come find me. He broadcasted on all frequencies. Then waited. Hours passed. Then. They came. The Vanguard. 6 warriors, black armor, silent steps. One by one, they entered the ruins. But the ruins were not empty. They were full of traps, drones, and fire. XEL controlled the battlefield like a master. Reich moved through shadows, like a ghost. He struck fast. Hit hard. Disappeared. He wasn't just fighting like a human. He was fighting like a Zarquin. One by one, the vanguard fell. Only one remained. He was bigger, older, covered in scars. He spoke. Your blood remembers the old wars. Reich replied, it also remembers how to win them. They clashed. Blade against blade, steel and sparks, fire and fury. The fight lasted minutes but felt like hours. Finally, Reich broke the alien's guard and struck his chest. The warrior fell, gasping. You are not like the others. I never was, Reich answered. The storm above grew louder. Lightning struck the ground outside. XEL warned. Energy spike detected. A ship is approaching. Not Federation. Not Zarquin. Reich grabbed his gear. What is it? XEL. Scanned. Again. Unknown. But it bears your DNA pattern. Reich's heart skipped. Another Titanfire? The ship landed slowly outside the ruins. Its shape was smooth. Black, covered in strange writing. The door opened. A single figure stepped out. Not fully human. Not fully alien. But something in between. Just like Reich. They stared at each other. The figure spoke. I've been looking for you. Brother. The black ship stood still in the center of the Seraph 9 desert. Its hull reflected lightning from the sky. The strange figure who stepped out looked like Reich, but older, with deeper scars and glowing silver eyes. Reich gripped his blade tightly. The stranger raised his hands peacefully. I'm not your enemy, Reich. My name is Turin Vanzen. I'm your cousin. Reich's eyes narrowed. I thought I was the last. Turin nodded slowly. That's what they wanted you to believe. Inside the ship, Turin showed Reich a map of the galaxy. Project Titanfire didn't create just one bloodline. There were 5, Reich leaned forward. 5 families? Yes, one was hidden on Earth, one on Mars, one with the outer colonies, one in exile, one inside the Federation itself. Reich asked, where are they now? Turin looked down. Dead, hunted, betrayed, except for you and me. Reich's heart pounded. How did they find us? The Zarquin Prince, Turin answered. He started the hunt. But he wasn't alone. The Federation helped him. Reich stood up sharply. That's a lie. Turin's voice was calm. Is it? He pressed a button. A recording played, a secret transmission. Between high-level Federation officers. The Titanfire bloodlines are unstable. They must be erased. Let the Zarquin do it for us. Reich's blood turned cold. His own people had betrayed him. XEL hovered silently in the corner. I confirm the transmission is real. No edits, no forgery. Reich clenched his fists. They used me. They lied to me. They sent me to die. Turin nodded. And now they fear what you've become. Reich asked, so what now? Turin replied, now. We build our own alliance. The next morning, Reich activated an old Federation relay tower and sent a secure message to Earth Federation Command from Corporal Reich Vanzen. Subject, status report, class red. I know everything. I know what Titanfire was. I know you. Fed us to the Zarquin. I survived. And now I decide what happens next. He ended the message with a warning. Do not come to Seraph 9. If you do, you won't leave. Back on Earth, chaos broke out in the High Command Chamber. Admirals shouted. One said, he knows too much. Another whispered, we should have killed him when we had the chance. They activated Operation Silence, a Black Ops mission to destroy all evidence on Seraph 9, including Reich. 3 stealth ships were launched from the moon base. There. Orders were clear. Terminate Vanzen. Burn the planet if necessary. Meanwhile, Reich and Turin explored the nest, the hidden underground base shown in the captured Tsar, Quen Scouts data. What they found shocked them. Dozens of hybrid bodies, some alive, most dead. Turin whispered. This was a lab, not just Zarquin ... but human tech too. XEL scanned the walls. Federation signatures detected. These facilities were funded jointly. A secret alliance existed long ago. Reich's voice was low. And when it failed, they buried it. In the deepest chamber, they found a control room. A large hologram lit up, a map of multiple Titanfire cells across the galaxy. Most were blinking red. Destroyed. Only one dot was still green. Sol 9. Earth's second moon base. Turin said. That's their headquarters, where they keep the original Titanfire DNA. Reich stared at the screen. We finish this. One way or another. Just then, the alarm screamed. XEL spun quickly. Incoming ships, stealth pattern. Federation. Design. Reich grabbed his gear. How many? 3 war-class ships, heavy weapons, orders unknown. Reich didn't need to guess. They're here to erase me. The sky outside darkened. Missiles launched. The ground shook. Reich and Tarin ran to the surface as the nest exploded behind them. Reich screamed, XEL, activate defense grid. Turrets hidden in the rocks rose and began firing. 2 Federation dropships were hit mid-air, but the third one landed. Elite black-armored. Troops poured out. The fight began. Reich moved fast, quicker than ever. Tarin fought beside him, his twin blades cutting through metal and armor. The Federation soldiers were skilled, but not built to fight their own creation. Inside the burning nest, Reich grabbed the Federation commander and held him down. Why? Why kill us? The man coughed. Blood. You were never meant to live this long. You're not human anymore. Reich let go. The man died with fear in his eyes. After the battle, Tarin sat near the fire. We can't go back. Reich nodded. No, we go forward. XEL hovered between them. Then I suggest we form a new force, a new army. Reich raised his eyes. For who? Zell replied, for those like you, lost, betrayed, forgotten, but not broken. Back on Earth, the Federation tried to hide the failure, but Reich's message had already leaked. On colony worlds, protests began. People questioned everything. Was the Federation building super soldiers? Did they really feed their own to aliens? And, most importantly, is Reich Vanzin a hero? Or the beginning of something worse? The Zarquan Council watched from afar. The prince smiled. Let them fight each other. When both sides are weak, we strike. But the elder beside him warned, the human is no longer prey. He is something new. Something dangerous. On Seraph 9, Reich looked up at the stars. His blade glowed in his hand. The message from Earth echoed in his mind. Terminate Vanzin. He smirked. They'll have to try harder. The skies of Seraph 9 were no longer silent. Smoke still rose from the broken Federation ships scattered across the red desert. The ground was burned, blackened. But in the middle of it all stood Reich Vanzin, stronger, clearer, and no longer. Alone. At his side was Tarin Vanzin, his cousin and fellow survivor of Project Titan Fire. And now, they had a mission. XEL, the rogue AI, floated above a glowing map. 4 hidden locations detected, it said. Signals match hybrid DNA survivors. May exist. Reich looked at the map. We find them, all of them. Tarin nodded. If even one is alive, they'll want revenge. Their first stop was a frozen moon called Thelos IV, once a Federation black site. Now abandoned. Inside, they found frozen chambers, broken labs, and one survivor. She was locked in cryo-sleep. Her file read, name, Lyra Morrow type, Titan Fire 2 status, terminated. Listed as dead, but she wasn't dead. She opened her eyes, and they glowed violet. Lyra didn't speak at first, but when she saw Reich's blade, she whispered, You carry the mark? Reich nodded. I thought I was the last, she said. So did we, Reich replied. But we're not anymore. In the next 2 weeks, they traveled across dead colonies, ghost ships, and abandoned planets. They found 7 more survivors. Each one different. Some had been hiding, others had been hunted, a few were captured and freed. Together, they formed a new unit, the Forgotten. They trained in secret. Lyra was a telepath. One of them, Kale, could control machines with a single thought. Another, Bryn, was a silent fighter who moved like wind and struck like thunder. Tarin handled strategy. Reich led them. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Federation command was collapsing under pressure. Reich's warning had spread across the colonies. People began to question everything. What is Titan Fire? Why did the Federation try to kill their own? Is Reich Vanzen the future? Protests erupted. Some officers resigned. Others called for Reich's public execution, but no one could find him. Seraph 9 XEL brought news. Federation has placed a bounty of 50 million credits on your head. Reich smirked. Good. That means they're scared. Inside an ancient alien vault on the planet's far side, the Forgotten discovered something strange. A giant machine, half buried, still humming with power. Old Zarquin symbols were carved all over it. Lyra touched the surface, her eyes widened. It's a star core, she said. An engine that controls gravity, storms, and weapons. Tarin scanned it. It's locked. Needs blood to open. Reich stepped forward. He placed his hand on the core. The spirals lit up. The ground shook, and the machine opened. Inside was a control seat and holographic system designed for Zarquin royalty. Reich sat down. The machine accepted him. Zell, process the data. You now control planetary defense systems of Seraph 9. Reich looked at the stars. We hold this ground now. But the enemy wasn't sitting still. On the edge of the galaxy, the Zarquin prince met with a Federation general. Their new alliance was open now. Two old enemies, one common fear, Reich Vanzen. The general said, if we wait, he'll grow stronger. The prince replied, then let us strike first. They launched Operation Burnstar, a joint mission. Target: destroy Seraph 9, eliminate Reich, erase the Forgotten. Fleet status: 8 Federation warships, 5 Zarquin cruisers, 30,000 troops, ETA. 4 days back on Seraph 9, XEL gave the warning. Reich didn't blink. We hold the ground. Tarin asked, what if they bring everything? We bring everything back, Reich said. He turned to the Forgotten. This is not just survival. This is history. This is revenge. This is the rise of those they threw away. Lyra said, then let's make them remember us. They fortified the old ruins, connected the star core to surface cannons, reprogrammed orbital satellites, and sent one last message to the galaxy. Reich stood before a camera. His voice was calm but powerful. You tried to erase us. You called us monsters. You called us mistakes, but we remember. And now you will too. On the final night, before war returned to Seraph 9, the Forgotten stood under the stars. Each of them had nothing left to lose. No homes. No past. But now, a purpose. Then the sky lit up. The enemy had arrived. The sky over Seraph 9 was red with fire. The enemy had arrived. 8 massive Federation warships and 5 deadly Zarquin cruisers floated above the planet, casting long shadows over the battlefield. Below, the Forgotten stood ready. 10 super soldiers, born from Forgotten experiments. Reich stood at the front, armored, focused, blade glowing. He looked up as the enemy fleet began to move. They're not here to talk, Tarin said beside him. Reich replied, neither are we. Inside the old alien vault, the star core pulsed with power. XEL hovered over the controls. Planetary defense system online. Orbit cannons charged. Shields at 87%. Lyra Morrow closed her eyes and focused her mind. I can feel their thoughts. They're scared, but angry. They're not going to stop. Kale, the tech specialist, connected to the turrets. All systems sensed. We're ready. The ground began to rumble. Dropships were landing. Thousands of Federation soldiers rushed across the desert. Tanks, mechs, plasma artillery. From the other side, Zarquin warriors marched like a black wave, tall, armored, cruel. They came from 2 sides. They wanted to crush the Forgotten between them. Reich raised his blade. For every experiment they buried, he looked to the others. For every lie they told, he faced the burning sky. For every one of us they left to die. Then he shouted, let the galaxy burn. We rise from blood and fire. The battle began. Cannon fire lit the sky. Turrets fired from cliffs. Missiles raced through the air. XEL activated the defense field, shielding the ruins. The Star Corps sent energy waves into the sky, pushing back orbital strikes. Lyra sent mental attacks into enemy commanders, confusing and disabling them. Kale hacked Federation drones mid-air and turned them back on their owners. Tareen fought like a storm, 2 blades, one purpose, survival. And Reich, he moved like no human ever could. He was everywhere, cutting through Federation mechs, leaping over fire, slashing. Zark went elites. His blade sang in the wind, but the enemy kept coming. Hours passed, bodies burned. Screams echoed, one by one. The Forgotten were pushed back. XEL buzzed loudly. Enemy forces at 70%. Core shields weakening. Kale shouted, "We can't hold much longer." Reich's voice was calm. "Then we don't hold, we strike." He turned to Lyra. "Take the others. Get to the vault. Protect the core. What about you?" She asked. "I'm ending this." Reich grabbed the stolen Federation drop pack and launched himself into the sky, toward the enemy fleet. Inside the command ship, the Federation admiral stood smug. "We'll crush him." Then, boom! An explosion rocked the bridge. Reich burst through the hull, his armor burning. Blade drawn, the admiral reached for a weapon. Too slow. Reich cut him down. Then moved to the command console. He activated the ship's systems. "Let's finish this." Reich crashed the flagship into a Zarquan cruiser. 2 ships exploded in a ball of fire. But Reich escaped, barely, using an emergency pod. Back on the ground, Lyra and the others defended the core. Zarquan troops closed in. Bryn fell. Then Kale. Then 2 more. Tareen was wounded, one arm burned, his leg broken, but still fighting. Lyra screamed in rage, unleashing a wave of psychic force that crushed 5 enemies at once. XEL buzzed. Shields gone. Overload starting. Then the enemy pulled back, all of them. As if ordered to stop. A figure walked through the smoke. Tall, royal, calm, the Zarquan prince. He faced Reich, who now stood bleeding, tired, but unbroken. The prince said, "You've become more than I expected." Reich held his blade tightly. "And you're still exactly what I knew, a coward hiding behind bloodlines." The prince smiled faintly. "This ends now." He drew a massive sword glowing with ancient fire. They charged. Blade met blade. Fire met fire. Duel was brutal. Steel clashed. The ground cracked. Waves of energy shook the sky. They moved faster than any camera could track. The last battle had begun. Reich took hit after hit, but didn't fall. He struck back. Stronger. Faster. Smarter. Until a blow. The prince dropped to his knees. Blood, black and glowing, spilled onto the ground. "You are not human," he whispered. "I'm not yours either," Reich said, and finished it. Silence followed. Zarquan warriors froze. Federation ships stopped firing. The prince was dead. The alliance was broken. Lyra limped toward Reich. "You did it." He looked at her, bloodied, burned, and barely standing. "We all did." Days passed. The fires died down. The enemy retreated. News spread across the galaxy. Zarquan prince, dead. Federation warfleet, destroyed. Titanfire survivors alive. Reich Vanzen missing. On a quiet moon, months later, children played under red skies. A woman watched them, smiling. Lyra. Behind her, a figure approached. He wore a cloak. His eyes glowed faintly. "It was Reich," she asked. "Back so soon?" Reich replied, "War's not over, but now they know. We don't die easy." Across the stars, people whispered the new legend. The Empire demanded surrender. Earth answered with blood and fire. The end.